Azalea. After Dr. Ronald left, I went back to the kitchen to help Amy with lunch. When I walked in, she and Abby had a batch of cookie dough they were rolling out together. Abby was making herself a mess, but clearly having fun. The new helpers were busy prepping lunch. "What was that about?" she asked as I walked over. "Nothing really. Just some questions about my condition," I said. I did not want to broadcast my lack of wolf to the pack members currently running around the inn. Amy nodded her head. "How can I help?" "Well, I think everything is pretty much covered in here. Maybe Lemon could use help up front." I shook my head. "Nope, she is all set right now." "Then go get some sleep. You look awful. I'll send a plate of food back later." I sighed. "Okay, I guess. Let me just run up and check something at the desk, and I will take a break." She nodded at me. I went up to the front to double-check that Lemon had everything under control. When I walked out front, I saw Cole standing at the desk and couldn't miss Lemon's desperate flirting. Rolling my eyes, I walked over to them. "Well, good afternoon, little flower," Cole said with a large smile as he noticed me. Lemon shot me a dangerous look. "Good afternoon, Cole. Is there something I can help you with?" I asked nicely. "Wait, you know him?" Lemon said, completely ignoring the fact that she was at work. "Not really. Kind of. We both started at the same time." Cole chuckled, then continued, "Not really, but Miss Azalea over here has been a wonderful help since my check-in." "Well, is there anything I can do for you before I take off for the day?" I asked, looking between him and Lemon. "Oh no, I think Miss Lemon has me all covered." "Taking off for the day?" he said curiously. "Yeah, I am going to head home for now." "No chance that you might want to have a cup of coffee with me?" he asked with a smirk. "I don't think that is such a good idea," came another voice from behind Cole. He turned to reveal John standing there with a dead look in his eyes. For a split second, I thought Cole's eyes flashed black. "Okay, Lemon, if you have everything handled, I am just going to." I trailed off, backing away from the desk. I left John and Cole in whatever strange standoff they were having. Did they know each other? How could they, though? I went out the back door and headed to my little apartment. I pulled my sweater around me tighter as I walked through the yard. It was getting colder every day. "Miss Leah, wait," someone shouted behind me. I turned around to see John running toward me. "Hi, John. How are you?" I asked him. I rubbed my hands up and down my arms for warmth as the wind blew around us. "You left me hanging yesterday. I was just checking that you were okay." "Oh, yeah. It was an old friend. Nothing to worry about." "You never really talk about many friends, Miss Leah." I laughed nervously. "I guess I don't." "Well, was there anything else?" "It is a bit chilly out." I trailed off. "Just one more thing. How well do you know that guy from the lobby?" he said with a stern look in his eyes. Worry took over me. "I don't. He just checked in a couple of days ago, and I have helped him a few times, but I don't know him." John's concern was confusing. "Right. Okay. Well, I will see you later," he said and turned around to walk away. I shrugged off his odd question and went to my apartment. I decided it was time to pull my space heater out as I entered my cold apartment. It didn't have a great heating system, so I spent a lot of time in the winter up at the inn. I pulled it out of my closet, and within a couple of minutes, warm air was blasting from it. I stood next to it warming my hands. Once I had warmed up a bit, I went in my kitchenette and started the tea kettle. Right after I poured my tea, my cell phone dinged. I went over to where I had left it on my desk to see who it was. It was a message from Liam. I sighed heavily. With everything that Lily had told me, I could not ignore him forever. But I was not ready to face him. I was not sure I would ever be prepared to face him and what happened. A part of me knew it wasn't entirely his fault, but it doesn't change what happened. I opened the message and read, "Liam, Azalea, we need to talk. I can never tell you enough how sorry I am, but it is very important that we speak. Can I come see you?" Well, he was not yelling or growling at me. I guess that was a step in the right direction. I sipped my tea as I contemplated returning his message. Could I face him? A knock at my door broke me from my thoughts. I sure was popular lately. Walking to the door, I called, "Who is it?" No one answered as I opened the door. There was no one outside. That was odd. I looked around for a sign of anyone near my apartment, but saw nothing. A chill swept over me. I turned to go back inside and closed the door when something struck me in the back of the head. I fell to the ground as blackness swept over me. Chapter 47. "It's me," I said as I opened the door. He gave me a curt nod. "I am going over to the human town to speak with Azalea. I will try and bring her here so she can be protected." "Good. I have a couple of plans on luring the hunter out. Let me hear them. You won't like any of them, and they all differ depending on the situation with Azalea. We can discuss this when she has made a decision." I nodded my head in understanding. "We will not be putting her life in danger, Damien. It already was the moment you rejected her, Liam." I turned to walk out of his office. I knew we would be okay, but for right now, he was angry with me, and I needed to let him be. I left his office and headed toward the small clinic off the pack house. I know Gwen was moved there to recover now that her major injuries were taken care of. Walking in, the receptionist smiled warmly at me. "I am here to see Gwyneth Hale," I said shortly. She nodded and stood up to lead me to a room. As I entered, I saw Gwen sitting up in bed. One of her arms was in a sling, and a leg was in a cast. Her face had some bruising and cuts that now looked red and puffy, as if they were almost healed. She was scrolling through her phone, but otherwise, she looked fine. I cleared my throat. Her eyes shot to me, giving me a dangerous look. "Don't give me your attitude, Gwen," I started. "I almost died, Liam. All because of that stupid little girl," she whined. I growled. "You will not speak like that about her, Gwen. She is your future Luna, and you will show her respect. Let's not forget about the circumstances leading you to be where you were when you were attacked." She pouted, looking away from me. "We both know an attempt to hurt your Luna is punishable by death or expulsion from the pack. She isn't my Luna. You are not mated, and she has not been accepted by the pack." Once again, I growled at her disrespect. "It does not matter. She is my mate and will be Luna." I paused, collecting myself. "I will be nice this once. Your injuries are punishment enough for your actions, seeing as you caused no harm, and Azalea is unaware of your attempt. But heed my warning, Gwen. You will not lay a finger on Azalea Simmons. You will not harm her in any way. Gwen is no concern of yours, but she will be Luna of this pack, and you will respect her as such. Or you can leave." I stared into her eyes with a grim look on my face. I wanted her to know I was serious. "But Liam, we should be mates." "No," I roared. "We have been over this, Gwen. We are not now and never will be mates. I love Azalea, and nothing will change that. You need to move on, Gwen." With that, I turned around and stalked from the room. She has been warned and will receive no other warning. As I walked towards the clinic's entrance, Declan came through the doors. He stopped as he saw me. "Liam, do you have a moment?" he asked, catching my eye. I nodded. I walked out the front doors and stood to the side of the entrance to give us a bit of privacy. "How can I help you, Declan?" I asked in a flat tone. "I want to apologize to you. I was wrong this morning. I was unaware of my daughter's intent and blamed you for her mistakes," he said solemnly. I knew it was not easy for him to apologize to me like this. "It is fine. I am sorry that she got in the middle of my mess. It was never my intent for anyone to get hurt." He nodded. "Once she is recovered, her mother, and I will be sending her to her mother's family outside Pack Life. I have failed my daughter in her upbringing, and I think some new circumstances might change things. Do whatever you see fit. She will receive no further punishment from me. But she has been warned never to hurt my mate or attempt to again. I am sure you can understand the severity of her actions." He nodded. I turned to walk away. "Liam," he said, and I stopped but didn't turn to face him. "There are things you should know about your mate, and I don't think your father should be the one to tell you. I never approved of how he handled her situation but could not do anything as Beta. You are doing a good job as Alpha despite your father's influence. My wife and I will accept her as our Luna. If you need help with anything, please call." "Thanks, Mr. Hale," I said and walked away. I wanted to know what he had to say about Azalea and her parents, but right now, going to her and convincing her to come back was more important. When I arrived at the inn, I decided it would be best to go inside and ask for her since she was not replying to my message or calls. She could be running around the inn working and not have her phone with her. I parked in the lot and made my way inside to the front desk. That flirty girl with the fruit name was at the desk. I groaned inwardly, not wanting to deal with shenanigans today. "Hello. Welcome to the Blue Moon Inn. Are you here for dinner today or checking in?" she chirped. "Actually, I am looking for someone. Is Azalea around?" I asked as patiently as I could. She rolled her eyes. "She went home." "I can call her if you like," she said, obviously annoyed. Did Azalea have that many people asking for her? Jealousy flamed in my gut. That would be great. "I would be happy to wait," I smiled at her. She gave me a fake smile back and grabbed the phone. She held the receiver to her face for a minute before looking up at me. Well, she isn't answering. Honestly, that isn't like her. She will wake up from a dead sleep to answer the phone if we call. What does that mean? I asked, worried. Well, she could have gone out, but she usually lets Amy or me know. "Let us know what, Lemon?" Amy said as she walked out of the kitchen. "Oh, it's you," she said, catching sight of me. "Azalea isn't answering the phone." I thought she went back to her apartment after that weird little spat with the cute customer and John. Lemon told her. I told her to go get some sleep. She looked like a zombie this morning, and we had everything covered around here. But that was a couple of hours ago now. I was going to send her some food back here soon, Amy said with concern. She looked at the other girl with worry. Try her again. The other girl dialed Azalea's number again, and still no answer. I am sorry. She must not be here right now. It isn't normal, but she probably went out for something, she said with worry in her voice. Amy looked at me with some weird emotion that I could not pinpoint. What the hell was her problem now? You should just go anyway. I don't think she wants you around, she said with malice. Well, that is for Azalea to decide. Not you, I said, dangerously quiet. She was a human and didn't know our ways, but she was pissing me off now. This time, I think I know what's best for her. You should go. She doesn't need all this, she said, crossing her arms. You shouldn't meddle in matters you can't even begin to understand, I told her darkly and turned to leave. I threw the front door open only to come face to face with John. If things couldn't get any better. I stormed past him, knocking into him slightly. Lose something, wolf boy, he said almost too quietly. I stopped dead in my tracks. Turning around, I glared at him. What did you say? I growled. Nothing, he said with a smirk. I lunged at him, grabbing him by the throat and holding him up against the house. He struggled against my grip. If you know where she is, you better spill now, I threatened. He strained against my grip, so I loosened it just enough so he could speak. You should take better care of your things, he gasped. I balled my fist and threw it into his stomach before dropping him to the ground. He let out a moan as he crumpled on the ground. I ran around the inn and headed to her front door. When I got there, I pounded on the door, only for it to swing open on its own. I was blasted with warm air and the smell of azalea mixed with blood. Looking down, there was a broken mug and a puddle of tea. Not far from it was a small pool of blood. My entire body went numb. I stepped inside her house, looking around. Azalea, I called. Azalea. Bending over, I touched the blood, trying to feel how warm it was, how fresh it was. It was cool and thick, meaning that it was hours old. Someone had hurt her hours ago, and my guess was they had taken her. Pain shot through my chest. Someone had my mate, and I had no idea who or where. I stood up, looking around the apartment for any clues. I saw a space heater near the bed that she must have just set up. I walked over to it to turn it off. Scanning the room, I saw a note with a flower on the bed. I grabbed it, ripping the envelope open. You almost wilted this pretty little flower, but now she is all mine. I warned you, Alpha. What will the big bad wolf do now? Rage washed over me. The hunter took her, and he was going to pay. Azalea. There was an awful ache resonating from the back of my head. Waking up slightly, I tried to remember falling asleep. I reached to feel the back of my head where the pounding was coming from. Touching it gingerly, I felt something dry and crusty matted in my hair. Opening my eyes, I realized I was not in my apartment, and I definitely wasn't at the inn. I was lying on a large soft bed in a cream-colored room. Looking around, I saw 2 doors, a table and chair, and a nightstand next to the bed. Everything was light-colored but cohesive. There were no windows in the room, just a single light hanging from the ceiling. Panic washed over me. Where was I? How did I get here? What is going on? I sat up slowly, my head still hurting. Someone must have hit me from behind. I tried to think back to the last thing I could remember. I was at home and had put the space heater on when there was a knock at the door. But there had been no one there when I answered. After that, I could not remember anything. Whoever is responsible for this must have been hiding when I opened the door. I stood up from the bed and cautiously went to the two doors. Twisting the handle on the first door, it turned surprisingly, and the door opened. Inside was a bathroom with a shower, toilet, and sink. There were a couple of towels folded neatly on the counter by the sink. I moved to the other door hoping this could be the exit. I tried turning the handle with no luck this time. This had to be the way out with no other doors or windows in here. I should have known it would be locked. You would never kidnap someone and forget to lock them in. I sat down on the bed, wrapping my arms around myself. I could not help but miss Liam at this moment. Some part of me knew that I was in this position because I ran away from him and refused to let Damien or anyone else stay to protect me. Realization hit me then. I have not been speaking to Liam, and he will have no clue that I am gone. Everyone at the inn thinks that I went to bed for the night and won't expect me until the morning. Who knows precisely how long it'll be until someone comes looking for me? Then how long until Liam or Damien find out and come to look for me? How long have I even been gone? Would they know where to even begin searching? My whole body started to shake in absolute fear. A tear slipped down my cheek. Liam, get every tracker we have here now. I also want additional support for every search party. Call Langston and ask him for help. I barked orders into the phone to Damien. Right away. Anything else? He responded. I knew he was not taking my tone to heart right now. Tell your dad we need to speak with him soon about Azalea. Whatever he has to say about her may help us find her. Sure. And Liam? Yeah, we will find her. He hung up the phone. I felt my heart constricting in my chest. Where was she? Who had her? She had to be terrified right now. We had no leads or clues as to the identity of this hunter. But we do, Gavin said in my head. Who? John. He knew mate was gone. I growled loudly and took off from Azalea's place. I ran to the front of the inn, determined to find that lowlife. I left him in a crumpled heap of the front porch, so I started there. As I thought, he was no longer sitting where I left him a few minutes ago. I entered the inn again, hoping he had come inside. Lemon and Amy stood at the front desk, talking in hushed tones. Clearing my throat, I got their attention. Ladies, I began. They looked at me. Have you seen that John guy? What in the hell is going on, Liam? Amy almost shouted. Where is Azalea? That is what I am trying to figure out. Where did John go? I shot back angrily. We don't know. We heard the commotion outside, and when we went outside, he was laughing like a crazy person, and you were nowhere to be found. He walked out to the parking lot saying something about getting the Alpha's head. This was not good. John had to be the one who took her, and he came back here hoping I would show up so he could taunt me. Where did he go? Amy, I need to know. He got in his car and left. Where is Azalea? I think he took her. And I need to find her. Amy, you need to close the inn down for the rest of the day. No more lunch and dinner. Push guests to check out if you can. The old man walked out of what I assumed to be his office right then. I will handle things here. Go find that girl, boy. And don't you let no hunters hurt her. I nodded my head at him and exited the inn. I should have known from day one he was the hunter. I never liked the guy, and I let myself think he was just a simple human trying to take my girl. Until Damien and everyone else got here, I could not do much. They would need Azalea's scent, so I went back to her apartment to get some things. Chapter 48. Azalea. I don't know how long I was out, but I sat on the bed for a while. I sat with my legs pulled close to my chest and my head resting on my legs. I didn't want to admit it in my heart, but my whole body yearned for Liam. I do not know if I could forgive him completely, but he was the one I wanted coming to my rescue right now. There was a sound on the other side of the door. I could hear the lock click and the door swung open slowly. My mouth dropped. John stood in the doorway holding a tray of food and a bag. He walked in and placed the food and bag on the table. John, what? I tried to find words. Was John responsible for this? How? Why? He chuckled. It's not entirely what you think, Miss Leah. I brought you some food. You should eat, he said in a dark tone. He never sounded less than friendly before now. Liam won't come for me. Taking me was useless, I said quietly. Don't be so sure, Miss Leah. Eat. And there are some clean clothes for you. He walked towards the door to exit the room. Wait, John, I said, trying to stop him. He turned his head to look at me over his shoulder. Why me? I thought we were friends, I said solemnly. He smirked. You don't even know who you are, do you? He said before leaving through the door. I jumped from the bed, launching myself at the door. I grabbed the handle, hoping to catch him off guard and pull the door open. I was not fast enough as the lock clicked as I desperately tried to yank it open. Sobs erupted from me. I fell to my knees in front of the door. I couldn't be sure exactly how long it had been since I was kidnapped. I refused to eat, only drinking small bits of water from the bathroom sink. John came in every so often bringing fresh food. He did not talk to me or pester me to eat. Sometimes he would dim the light if he thought I was asleep. I laid on the bed curled in a ball. When I was not sleeping, I laid there sobbing. It felt like I had been there for days. I felt like the longer time went on, the less likely it would be that Liam was coming to my rescue. He had to know I was gone by now, right? The door opened quietly. I lay still with my eyes closed, trying to control my sobs. Someone approached the bed behind me. I felt a large hand on my side. It gently rubbed me. I held completely still. Eat something, little flower, he whispered. I recognized the voice. Eat something, and I will explain everything. My eyes widened in realization. I turned my head to look over my shoulder, and sure enough, Cole was standing behind me. Cole, I croaked. Eat something, and when I come back, I will tell you everything, he said and left the room. I sat up, my head pounding a little. Looking at the table, I saw yet another fresh tray of food. If I ate something, I could get some answers, so what did I have to lose? I got up to sit at the small table. I felt weak, and my limbs were heavy. On the tray were a bottle of water and a bottle of juice, an apple, a small sandwich, and a bowl of macaroni and cheese. I opened the bottle of juice, taking a small sip. The cool sweetness coated my mouth, making me feel a bit better. I managed to eat about 3 bites of the sandwich and half the macaroni before I started to feel sick. I washed everything down with the water and juice, knowing that I was dehydrated by now. As if on cue, the door opened the moment I pushed the tray away from me. John stood in the doorway. Good. Now you should go clean up, and I will take you to him, he said. He grabbed the tray and replaced it with a bag of clothes. Everything you need to shower is in the bathroom. I'll be back in 30 minutes. With that, he left the room. Now that I had eaten, my headache had lessened. I knew it had been at least a couple of days since I showered or changed, so I did as I was told. Grabbing the bag of clothes, I went to the bathroom. Once I figured out how to turn on the shower, I washed quickly. I tenderly attended to the back of my head that was still sore from whatever I had been hit with. Getting out of the shower, I wrapped myself in a towel before grabbing the bag I was given. I opened the bag. Inside were a pair of leggings, a flowy top, some undergarments, a sweater, and some toiletries. Having no other choice than to put my other clothes back on, I dressed quickly and wrapped my hair up in the towel. I brushed my teeth and put some lotion on. Now that I was clean, I was feeling a little better. I let my now only damp hair down from the towel and brushed it out gently so that I didn't pull where the cut was healing. I pulled my long locks into a bun on my head and exited the bathroom. I sat on the bed, waiting for John or Cole to return. Liam. It had been 3 days since Azalea was taken, and we had no idea where she was. I was going out of my mind, and Gavin was more anxious than I was. I paced the floor of my office, thinking, where could Azalea be? What was happening to her? I could feel her fear and sadness through our link, but I was not feeling any pain. I hoped that meant she was not being harmed. A knock came at the door. What? I yelled, turning to the door. Lily stood in the doorway with a stern look on her face. Liam, Declan asked to speak to you. He said it can't wait any longer. Fine, I said. I should have spoken with him days ago when Azalea was first taken, but I have been putting it off trying to search for my mate. The door opened all the way and Declan came in, followed by Damien and Lily. I sat down at my desk, motioning for him to sit down. Declan and Lily sat down with Damien standing behind Lily. There was a tense silence before he began. I don't know where Azalea was taken, but I do suspect I know who has her. We already know who has her. That John guy who has been stalking her at the inn for more than a year now. I shot at him. Don't be so sure. I think this hunter was only a means to an end, he replied calmly. Means to what end? Who has her then? I barked. Damien growled. Damien, it is okay. If someone took Lily, you would be acting the same. Liam, I believe your cousin has Azalea. My cousin? I don't have any cousins. One of my father's brothers died shortly after he became alpha. My uncle's mate was not capable of bearing children, and my mother's sister has never found her mate. That is not entirely true, he said, still very calm. Yes, your father's brother did die, but we don't know exactly when. And you do not know the circumstances. Your uncle almost died trying to claim the title of Alpha from your father. You have a cousin that is about your age. He was born only a couple of months before you, he explained. I don't remember having a cousin. Surely I would remember that, I interrupted. You probably haven't seen him since you were about 3 years old. At that time, your uncle and father started having issues. Your uncle was always jealous of your father. He did not think your father deserved the title of Alpha even though he was the firstborn. Arguably, your uncle showed much greater potential for the position growing up. He shifted early. He found his mate early. He was even stronger than your father for a while. But your father was firstborn, so he was given the title of Alpha. When you were about 5 years old, the animosity finally started coming to a head. Your uncle had spent less time at the pack house and training, but was plotting against your father in secret. When your father found out, he put a stop to everything, but there was some fallout. I don't understand how this relates to Azalea, I said, confused. Azalea's parents were part of your uncle's plan. He had a small sect of werewolves following him and supporting his overthrow of your father. Some of these wolves came from other packs and integrated into ours. Azalea's father found his mate in a different pack. She was the daughter of the current alpha in her pack. Her twin brother was to take the alpha position, so she agreed to come to our pack to be with her mate. Wait a minute. Azalea is of alpha blood. Yes, she is. And it makes sense that she would be the mate of an alpha. Her family is said to have incredible power. Because her father was an avid supporter of your uncle, her mother never got to make many friends within the pack. Your uncle and his followers stuck together and were very secretive. Many of them also refrained from having pups so that they would have fewer weak spots to be exploited when it came time for their coup. But Azalea's mother was of alpha blood, and that allowed her to become pregnant more easily. Azalea was born shortly after you and your cousin. Her father and your uncle agreed that their children would become Alpha and Luna when the time came. They can't do that. What were they going to do about their mates? I said, appalled. Who knows? This was an arranged marriage for strength and power. As you know, Azalea's parents died when your uncle tried to take the pack from your father. Because of the circumstances surrounding their death and no one in the pack being close with Azalea's parents except the other defectors, no one could take in Azalea. I tried desperately to find her guardians. We could not take her in. You know that my mate is human, and our pups were more than she could handle at the time. Your father and mother reluctantly took responsibility for her. We both know they were not happy about it. I think your father's greatest fear was that she would be her mate. So, what happened to my cousin and my uncle? Your uncle was hurt and ran away to become a rogue. I can only assume he took your cousin with him. Your uncle's mate was killed in the fallout, so I cannot imagine he survived long, Declan finished. So, you think my cousin has taken Azalea? He nodded his head. I think he is going to try to mate her, mark her, and take your alpha title. I think he has taken her to draw you out and get you riled up before he proceeds. I looked at Damien with wide eyes. Get my uncle now. I linked him. Damien immediately left the room, earning a confused look from his father and Lily. Thank you, Declan. I appreciate your candor. There is something I need to attend to immediately. If you could excuse us, I said, standing and motioning for the door. Lily, can you stay for a moment? Declan stood to leave. Your father misplaced his malice towards his brother for years at that girl. But do try to understand, he never wanted to fight his brother. With that, he left my office. As soon as the door shut, Lily piped up. Liam, what will happen if another wolf mates her before you have marked her? You already have a permanent link. I don't know. Damien is getting my uncle now. I will have to tell him what happened. We have to get to Azalea before he can mark her. Chapter 49. Azalea. After what felt like forever, I heard the lock on the door clicking, and the door swung open. I stood from the bed and looked at John in the doorway. He motioned for me to follow him, so I did. We walked silently through a hallway and down some stairs. There was a soft rug under my feet that shielded me against the cold, hardwood floors. We went down 2 flights of stairs when John led me to an office. He knocked twice on the door, and we heard "come in" from the other side. He opened the door and motioned for me to go in. Entering the office, I saw Cole seated at a desk. To the side of the room, there was a couch with a small coffee table. There were shelves holding files along another wall. It looked like an Alpha's office. Please sit, Azalea. We have things to talk about, Cole said, staring at me. I shuffled over to one of the chairs in front of his desk and sat down. I fidgeted nervously in the chair, pulling my sleeves down over my hands. After a moment of silence, I quietly asked, "Why am I here?" He smiled. "Well, you're my mate, of course." I looked up at him, confused. "No, I'm not," I said. Little flower, but you are." The moon goddess did not decide this, but our parents. "You were promised to me, you see." My mouth dropped open. "My parents promised me? That's impossible." I whispered. "You do not even know the circumstances in which you came to be a member of the Blood Eclipse Pact, do you? Do you know who your mother is?" I just stared at him. My parents died 15 years ago after plotting against the Alpha. Their crimes were punishable by death. They left me alone in this world, unloved and unwanted. Your mother is the true Alpha of the White Moon Pack. She found her mate shortly after she was told that her twin brother, who happened to be born second, was to be given the title of Alpha over her. Her mate, your father, was my father's best and most trusted friend. Your mother was heartbroken and upset with her family at the time, so she came to the Blood Eclipse Pack with her mate. But what does any of that have to do with me? Shush. You will understand everything in time, he said. He cleared his throat and continued. My father is Alpha Robert's younger brother. Although he is younger, he should have been Alpha. You see, my father was stronger, faster, and smarter than Alpha Robert. He would have been a powerful leader. He even found his mate early. That is how special he was. I was born shortly before your precious mate, Liam, as my father wanted an heir right away to ensure his lineage could retain the Alpha title once he took it. And conveniently, your mother fell pregnant not long after mine. Our fathers thought it would be in our best interest to merge our bloodlines, as you were bound to be an exceptional wolf. What do you mean exceptional? You know nothing of the White Moon Pack, he asked. I shook my head. The White Moon wolves are known to have special abilities. Alphas and their kin are said to have more than one of these special abilities. I am sure you can understand why our fathers wanted us to be mated, one day taking over as Alpha and Luna of the Blood Eclipse. Fear crept up my spine. He had to have the wrong person. There was no way I was special. I did not even have access to my wolf. I was not much more than a weak human. What would he do to me when he realized I have no special abilities? He continued. Do not misunderstand me. I know you cannot shift and have not unlocked any of your abilities. But I know they are there, and I will unlock them. That I can promise you, little flower. Back to my story. So your mother came to Blood Eclipse to be with her mate. My father intended to make your father his beta, of course, if he could take down Alpha Robert. My father became more obsessed with taking the Alpha title as time went on. It became his sole focus in life. So they planned. For years, they planned a coup, the perfect plan to defeat the Alpha and anyone else who would stand in his way. But your pesky mother got in the way. She went to Robert's beta, Declan, and warned him that something was going to happen. She tipped him off just enough that our parents were thwarted. Your mother was hurt, but she could not hang on when your father died, and she too passed away. My father was injured, but managed to get away with me. You were left to deal with the aftermath. My mind was reeling. My mother is of some special alpha bloodline. My father sided with a crazy man. My mother tried to stop their attempts and still died. Cole stood up and walked around the desk. He kneeled in front of me. We were promised to each other since birth, my little flower. And I am going to save you from everything the pack made you face, he said, reaching up to stroke my cheek. I don't understand, I said quietly. What don't you understand? He asked gently. I looked into his blue eyes that reminded me so much of Liam. I could feel tears threatening to spill over my lashes as I yearned for Liam to rescue me. Whatever all this was, I didn't want to be a part of it. If I was so special and promised to you, why didn't you take me sooner? Why did I suffer for 12 years in that pack house? I asked quietly, not trusting my voice. He sighed. I didn't know you survived at first. I didn't know until your 16th birthday. I snuck into the pack territory to find you. I watched you for a few days, and I was so angry when I found out how you were treated. I saw you through your window on your birthday. I could see your tears as you watched the moon. I couldn't hear you, but your lips were moving like you were singing yourself happy birthday. I was angry. I left to devise a way to get you out. I planned to get you before your 17th birthday. But when I came back, there was this group of girls talking about how Liam, future Alpha, kicked you out of the pack. I thought they made you a rogue. It took me months to find that you were in that little human town. Once I knew you were safe and away from them, I waited. I sent the hunter to keep an eye on you. So, John. Yes. He is a hunter, and he was sent by me to watch over you. We had a mutual interest, you could say, he said. Liam, I concluded. Yes. I had planned to take over my rightful place as alpha of the pack. Then we learned that he is your fated mate. Tears began to flow. You don't understand. You have to be wrong. I am not special. I cannot shift. I can't speak to my wolf. There is nothing special about me. You have the wrong person. I cried. Cole pulled me to his chest, hugging me tightly. No, little flower. You are exceptional. And I will show you. I could never hurt you like he did. My body stiffened immediately at his words. How did he know? Cole pulled away from me. Oh yes, I know how he tried to hurt you. I could never do that to you. He caressed my cheek as he looked into my eyes. His expression was sincere. Nothing about his behavior was threatening. It seemed like he cared, like he really had waited for me his whole life, as if I was his true mate. Cole, I'm not your mate. I am Liam's mate. I am sorry, I said quietly. I closed my eyes and turned my head away from him. All of this was too much and made me miss Liam even if I had not forgiven him. Please just let me go, I said again in a whisper. Cole stood up. I could tell he was starting to get angry. I am sorry, but I cannot do that. He rejected you, then hurt you, Azalea. I will not allow him to touch what is mine. Cole walked around his desk. That is enough for now. Join me for dinner later, little flower, he said. His office door swung open. I stood up, knowing that this was my indication to leave. John was standing in the doorway, apparently ready to escort me to my room. I silently walked behind John back through the house. I tried to take note of my surroundings, but everything looked identical to each other. We arrived back at my room, and John opened the door. I entered while he closed the door behind me and locked it. Sadness and helplessness washed over me all at once. Cole was not going to let me go, and he was going to hurt Liam. There was absolutely nothing I could do. I curled up into a ball on the bed. Silent sobs racked my body until I finally fell into a fitful sleep. Liam. My uncle arrived at my office. Lily and I sat waiting for him and Damien. I stood as he entered. What is so important that you needed me immediately? Is everything okay? He asked worriedly. I guess Damien did not fill him in. I need to know what will happen if another wolf marks my mate, I said as calmly as I could. He looked around with a confused expression on his face at the three of us. Many things can happen. Why would someone mark Azalea? Where is she? She was taken. He nodded his head. I think I understand. Well, since you have not mated with Azalea yet, tell him, Lily interrupted. He gave her a questionable look. My uncle turned to face me. Tell me what exactly? Liam, you did resist her heat, correct? I sighed. Not exactly. There was a complication during her heat. What sort of complication? It took me by surprise. We were arguing, and her heat came. Gavin took over and mated with Azalea, I said, hanging my head. Against her will, Damien said quietly. My uncle looked at us all in turn. Well, that makes things more complicated, I presume. I would say it is uncommon for wolves to mate and not be marked quickly after. As for another wolf mating her, it will hurt. She will feel physical pain for another wolf touching her now that you two have mated. You will also feel the pain she feels. If she is marked, it would probably sever the mate bond. I only remember reading of a few similar instances. You would feel pain similar to that of rejection. The pain inflicted upon Azalea will be much worse if she is marked. There was even a case where the marked she-wolf felt residual pain until she could no longer take it. Until she could no longer take it? What does that mean? Asked Lily. She took her own life. She was marked by a man who was not her mate and claimed the pain from the mark to be unbearable. Eventually, she took her life, he explained. Lily gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. I don't think your cousin will do anything until he has taken care of you, Liam, my uncle continued. Wait, although I had no interest in the affairs of running the pack, I was not naive to my brother's quarrel. And I suspected Cole had survived, he replied calmly. So, he is after my pack, and he already has my mate. Are you sure he won't hurt her until he kills me? I cannot be 100% certain, but I would think not. Young Cole was absolutely obsessed with Azalea when they were young. He treated her like a princess. I hazard to say they were each other's only friends due to their parents' dealings. Cole has had many opportunities to harm Azalea, if I understand this situation correctly. He has yet to. He has also had her for how long now? 3 days, Damien told him. He has yet to harm in 3 days, so we know. He will wait until he eliminates you before he attempts to mark Azalea. I believe he will refrain from hurting her more than he must to achieve his goals. We all sat in silence, contemplating what my uncle had said. Lily stood up and walked right in Damien's arms, burying her face in his chest. I knew she was worried for Azalea. My uncle stood and took his leave. I sat down in my chair. Suddenly, I felt a wave of despair come over me. Hopelessness started to settle in. This had to be Azalea. We have to find her, I whispered. Chapter 50. Azalea. I felt a hand on my shoulder, shaking me awake. I looked around, remembering where I was. John was standing over me. Wake up, Miss Leah. You should change for dinner. He sent up some clothes, said John. He left me alone once again. Not thinking I had much of a choice at this point, I got up and grabbed the bag of clothes that John left on the table. I went to the bathroom to change. Inside the bag was a green dress with short sleeves and some short heels. It was pretty and fit well, but I was too numb to care. I let my hair down, finger combing it into gentle curls down my back. I brushed my teeth before going back into the bedroom. I sat on the bed with my hands on my lap. I absent-mindedly rubbed at the remaining bruise marks still on my wrists. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. I looked up, expecting it to open, but it did not. Another knock sounded. Come in, I said hesitantly. The door opened, and Cole stood there with a smile on his face. He looked so much like Liam it almost hurt. Every time I looked at him, my heart ached for Liam. You look beautiful, he said. Thanks, I whispered. Are you ready? He asked. I nodded my head. He held out his hand, but I didn't take it. I stood up from the bed and stepped toward him. Okay, let's go, he said, dropping his hand. I followed him out of the room. We went back downstairs to a small dining room instead of his office. Cole led me to a chair, pulling it out for me like a perfect gentleman. I sat down, keeping my eyes down and not daring to look at him. I sat on the corner and Cole sat on the other side. Someone came out, placing salads before us. I could feel his eyes on me. Eat, little flower, he said quietly. I made no move to begin eating. I stared down into my lap as he ate next to me. What felt like an eternity later, the salad plates were taken away and another plate of food was set down. I continued to stare at my hands in my lap. This was excruciating, and every minute that passed made me want Liam more. Cole's chair scraped against the wood flooring. I felt his hand under my chin, lifting my face to his. He knelt on the floor next to me. His eyes bore into mine with concern flooding his blue orbs. His other hand gently grasped my hand, and he began rubbing his thumb softly over the bruising on my wrist. "Please eat something. We do not have to talk. Just please eat for me," he pleaded. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I considered my options for a moment. He was not acting aggressive or hostile towards me in any way. It seemed as if, for the time being, he was simply trying to have a meal with me. For now, I would play my part. I nodded my head a fraction. His face lit up with a handsome smile. "That's my girl," he said quietly. He got back into his chair and looked at me expectantly, waiting for me to take a bite. I looked down at the plate in front of me. There was chicken and some roasted vegetables. I hesitantly picked up my fork. Cole watched me diligently. I grabbed a small piece of broccoli and brought it to my mouth. He finally relaxed once I put it in my mouth and began to chew. The meal continued in much of the same way. I would take a small bite here and there while Cole sat quietly watching me eat. Once he finished his plate, I put my utensils down, signaling that I was also finished. "That is all you will eat, little flower?" he asked in a somber tone. I nodded my head. He sighed. "I will take you back to your room. Come," he said, standing up and offering me his hand. I still did not take it, but stood up to follow him. When we arrived at my room, he opened the door and stepped aside to let me in. I walked inside, stopping in front of the bed. I felt him lingering in the doorway, but did not turn around to address him. His large frame approached me from behind. "There are some night clothes in the bathroom for you. I will be out in the morning, but would be ecstatic if you would join me for lunch tomorrow," he said steadily. I stood completely still, making no indication that I would or would not eat lunch with him. I just wanted him to go. I got my wish as he left the room, locking the door behind him. I slipped my feet out of the heels and climbed up onto the bed. This time I got under the large, soft comforter. I felt cold and tired. My body missed Liam, and I felt this slight anxious energy that made me even more tired. I curled up in a ball under the blanket and let the darkness take me away. Liam. Sleep was next to impossible. I felt this ache in my chest that was growing all the time. He may not be hurting Azalea, but she was far from okay. I needed to get to her. Even if she did not want me, I needed her safe. I stood on the back patio in the wee hours of the morning. I held a cup of coffee in my hand. It was about the only thing I had consumed for days now. I looked out over the woods behind the pack house, waiting for the sun to crest the trees. "You need to sleep, Liam. What will you do if we find her and you're too exhausted to do anything?" Lily linked me. I could feel her presence behind me. I let her down, I said quietly. "I will sleep when I know she is safe." She sighed behind me. "We got something," she said quietly. I turned around quickly. "Why didn't you start with that?" I asked frantically. "What is it?" She held up a small envelope addressed to me. I took it from her and opened it quickly. Inside was a note and a Polaroid photo. I looked at the picture first. My breath hitched. The photo was of a girl lying on a large bed. She was curled up, holding herself. Her fiery locks were a wild mess around her. The photo was clear enough to see some barely visible bruises around her wrists. I swallowed. Azalea. Her name erupted from my lips in a strangled sob. I opened the note and read, "You did not take care of this little flower. Now she will be mine. I will be waiting, Alpha." At the bottom of the note was a set of coordinates. I looked up at Lily. She nodded her head. "Yes, Liam. We think he has told you exactly where they are. And if this picture is recent enough, she is okay." She looked at me warily. "Damien sent a pair of wolves to scout the area. We won't know much until they return." I nodded my head, barely registering what she was saying. My mind was wholly fixated on the photo. "Mate," Gavin whined in my head. "No, you do not get to do that," I said to him icily. He growled in response. "No, Gavin. You are the entire reason she was able to be taken. You did this. You hurt her worse than anyone ever has. She ran from us, and it made her vulnerable." He did not deserve pity at this moment. He took Azalea's choice away as she begged him to stop. "I did what you wouldn't," he feebly tried to argue. "I would have. I wanted to the moment I saw her again. But it could not be like that. Now she is in the hands of someone trying to take my pack. Don't you see what you did?" He remained quiet for a minute. I played the painful images of Azalea underneath us that night in the lake house through my mind, forcing him to watch what he did. Gavin whimpered. I didn't want to hurt Mate, he whined. You did. She was not ready for anything like that. Her mating should have been slow and sweet. We should have taken care of her. You are right. I failed, Mate, he admitted finally. Lily was waving her hands in front of me, trying to get my attention. Gavin retreated in my mind once again. He was probably off to metaphorically lick his wounds now that he was accepting this was all his fault. I snapped my eyes to Lily. Sorry, I said. Damien walked outside at that moment. I looked over at him. There are scouts sent to check out the area around the coordinates in the note. They left about 20 minutes ago, he said. I nodded my head. Liam, you need to go get some sleep. We won't know anything for hours still. I looked at my best friend and Beta. He was looking almost as rough as I was. I didn't realize how hard he had been working to help me find Azalea, a girl he held no loyalty toward until he found out she was my mate. He handed me a small bottle. I spoke with your uncle. He gave me these to give to you. They're a light sedative just to help you fall asleep. I know asking you to take them willingly is probably not the best choice, but I won't force you. Damien, get the Delta to watch over things and wait for the scout returns. You and Lily should also go rest, I said, taking the bottle from him. I will take these and sleep as well. I need your help if I am going to get my mate back, I finished. He nodded his head and looked at Lily. She gave him a small, warm smile, moving into his embrace. They turned around to go back inside. And Damien, I started. He paused, but did not turn around. I really am sorry I let this all happen. I will never hurt her or allow Gavin to hurt her ever again. He stood there for a moment. Finally, he linked me, probably unable to voice what he had to say. Your wolf's actions were a punishable offense. If you ever hurt her again, Liam, I will not hesitate to act. Whether or not she is my Luna, she did not deserve that. I expect nothing less. With that, he and Lily disappeared into the house. I sighed, realizing not only had I hurt Azalea, but I had also put my best friend in a position where his morals were compromised. We had dealt with wolves forcibly mating in the past, although not frequently. Punishments were always severe. I got a punch to the face and a cold shoulder. I got off far too easily. I looked at the photo again. My poor little mate needed me. Hang in there just a little longer, Azalea. I am coming, baby, I whispered to myself.